Patrick Janssens has lived in England so long that we've claimed him as one of our own. But his life in greyhound racing started a long time ago in his home country of Belgium, and it was all down to one random man and his dog.
In my home country, it was I was at home, just playing on the streets, what you did when you were a kid. And there was a man in the street, and he had 2 Africans and 1 greyhound, and he used to like the greyhound. And then he told me he raced them, and so I went with him one Sunday to the track, and you only run for really a bunch of flowers or a trophy. And I really liked it, and I got into it more and more and more. And then, you know, I couldn't speak English at all because our second language is French. So, and then one year we come to England and went to Wimbledon and went to Hackney, and that's how I got involved in it, like that way.
It was a roller coaster, but back in the day when you were just a boy, it was your mum that eventually said you could have a dog.
I could have a dog if I had a good school report. That was in, I think it was 1984, and then I had this dog, and I had him at home, and he was only 12 weeks old. I reared him myself. Before I went to school, I took him over the forest and into the fields and let him off, and then we took him to a track when he was sort of 13 months old, and he looked good, but then they had to drive me to the track because I couldn't drive. And then in 1986, I finished second in the Belgium Championship with the dog. And then, you know, I got more dogs and better dogs, and just no different from over here, really.
But it is different in Belgium in the way it's run, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's just, there's no gambling at all. It's just a hobby, you know, but there was some great racing there. We used to go to Geldrop, Amsterdam, in Beringen in Belgium, and yeah, we went to Germany as well, and we went to France, and everywhere in Europe really we went racing.
So you have essentially trained greyhounds since you were 10 years old, but I think you got to your 20s when you decided that you would basically travel the world and learn your trade fully.
I always wanted to go to America, and it was in 1992. You know, you needed an international driving license to drive in America when you rent a car. So I went to a travel agent and I booked a holiday to Florida. And I wanted to see the greyhound tracks there. And then my mum, she says, you can't go there on your own. She said, come with me. So and we went there together, and I went to Biscayne, Hollywood, to all them tracks down there. I went to the big, where all the trainers were. There were loads of dogs and schooling tracks. And yeah, and that's where I sort of saw a lot of things, and that's how it all come about, really. And then, you know, at a certain age, when I was sort of in the late 20s, I used to come quite a lot to Walthamstow. Went to Ireland a few times and this and that. We had a dog with Gary Baggs at the time as well. And then I decided I would like to work in greyhounds, and then that's when I went to start for Matt O'Donnell. That
was in Ireland, and you worked there for around about 9 months. Yeah. How much did you learn there?
Yeah, I learned quite a lot there. But then, you know, when I worked for Matt O'Donnell about 4 months, something like that. Then I worked for Pat Dalton as well there. And the only thing there is that when you have a good dog, most of them get sold. So, you know, they all have them dogs and they get moved on, so you never keep the dog, really. Some of them do, but most of them don't. And then I thought to myself, you know, I don't really like this system. And it's always the same dogs, you know, they're looking for that Derby dog, that 550 dog for Shelbourne. So if they have a stayer or a sprinter or anything like that, they're really no good in Ireland because there's not enough races for them. So, and then I thought I'd try England, and I had a few conversations with different trainers and everything, but nothing come from it really. And then one day there was an advert in the Racing Post, and I rang her, and it was Linda Jones, and I rang her, and she said, would you come for an interview? And I flew over, and I met her at Walthamstow, drove back to the kennels, met Mark Wallace, who was assistant trainer, and that's how it all, and I started on a Thursday.
And how much did you learn there?
Yeah, that's where I learned the most, really, you know, because you get so many dogs going through your hand, and it's not about how you train dogs, it's about knowing the personality of a dog. And every dog is different, and sort of knowing the dog, what makes him tick and what don't.
2 massive things happened whilst you were at that kennel. Firstly, you met Cheryl, your wife.
Yeah. And
secondly, you were involved in a Derby winner in Kind of Ready.
Yeah, that was amazing, really. You know, I met Cheryl in 2004. I met her at Walthamstow, Charlie Chance, after Racing Post Festival. And then in 2005, Cheryl moved up here. We bought a house and everything, and we worked at Marks. And then, unfortunately, you know, Walthamstow closed, and that was a real downer, really, in 2008. And that took a lot of the glory away, really, because you know, that was really hard for Mark financially as well. And but then we had all these litters, what people bred really for wolf. Then we had this kind of ready and kind of easy, and they looked really good dogs. And then, yeah, the dream come true in 2009.
Was it always your ambition to have your own licence?
I think it's everybody's ambition, you know, but it's financially, can you make it pay? That is the thing. And when I worked at Mark's, it was, I really liked it, I loved it. But in the end, you know, when Walthamstow was closed, and you had to go to your Harlows, and there's no disrespect going there, you know what I mean? But there was no toaster. You know, we were graded at Yarmouth and everything, and I sort of got a bit fed up with it. And then I went to do a bit of painting and decorating, and then Charles Fanous, who had Pre-Market Pets, rang me, and he says, would you take this over? And then I had a long discussion with Charles, and I took it on. And then I worked from home, and I had a unit where I had storage and everything, and I'd done it myself, and then I got busier and busier. And then Cheryl left Mark's as well to help me, really. And then in 2014, we bought his place, you know. But I was lucky through Les Anderson, you know, he passed away now, unfortunately, and he found me this place because his best friend lived here. That's how I bought this place. And then, you know, we had a few dogs, and we ran them at Mildenhall. And then one day Chris Page rang me. He says, Toaster's gone open, would you come and run here? I says, I only got 5 dogs, so I says, I don't really want to come there twice a week. If you can put them out on a Saturday night, I will come. So I went down there, and they went through the grades, and then you meet someone else, and I met Evan Herbert, I met Andy Pelly, and, you know, they were from the Walthamstow days, so they give me a dog, and then from one come the other, and that's how it all come about, really.
And now to this, Derby winning trainer. How does that sound?
Yeah, it's amazing, really. You know, that was when that, you know, you always dream about these things, and, you know, you always think, oh, it will never happen to me, sort of thing. But, you know, when last year, sort of, when Galala Line, he was such a game little dog, such a battler, and, you know, I thought he could do it, but, you know, he was sort of around the 29-40, 29-30 mark, you know, and then, you know, Tom Falcon, he kept improving, and when they got to the final and they got round the first 2 bents in front, I couldn't believe that. I pinched myself, really, and, yeah, it was an amazing feeling.
If you look back now to the 10-year-old boy who got his first dog, what advice would you give him?
I'm glad I've done it. I'm really glad I've done it. I'll never forget, I came in 1996, the first time to the Derby final in England. That was when Some Picture won. And I thought, wow, you know, this is what I love to do. But I thought, how am I going to do that? And then when I made that decision in 2000 to move away from Belgium, you know, I mean, that was quite difficult because, you know, I liked where I lived. I had my friends, I had everything, you know, but when you go to work every day, you hate it, you know. I thought, I got another 30, 40 years to do this, and I can't do this. I had to do something with my life. I want to do something in life, what I like doing. And that's when I approached an advert. It was, I'll never forget, the Greyhound Weekly. And I wrote to it because there was no phone number. And then I'm scared to think what I wrote because I couldn't really write English. So Matt O'Donnell rang me, and then he said, would you come over? And I went over, and it was the year when Late Show was running, and Drupas Q and Drupas Fieri semi-finals of the Derby, and that's where I met him. Went to Killinall, saw the kennels. Jennifer was only little then, Jennifer O'Donnell and Matthew, and Francis was there, and I worked there for a couple of months, and that's how it all come about.
So you wouldn't change a thing?
No, I wouldn't change a thing, no.